Now, a spokesperson for the Israeli government says Israel is ready to stop its war on Gaza to return captives. However, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has reiterated that the goals of the war remain unchanged and that he wants to see Hamas destroyed. This comes after US President Joe Biden presented a three-phase ceasefire plan on Friday, with the first phase entailing a limited release of captives from Gaza. Israel has banned Al Jazeera from reporting from there. So we're now going to speak to Imran Khan, our correspondent. He's joining us from the Jordanian capital, Amman. First of all, Imran, tell us a little bit more about what we've been hearing from Netanyahu and his government.
Well, it began as a series of leaks in a parliamentary meeting, a Knesset meeting that was taking place, where we heard that the Prime Minister was willing to talk about phase one of that three-phased ceasefire deal. He was willing to commit to that. Then there was a video recording of the Prime Minister. He says this: "We are working in countless ways to bring the abductees back. I think about them all the time. For the sake of their families and their suffering, that is why we have come a long way to bring them back. But in the course of this work, we have preserved the goals of the war. Above all, the elimination of Hamas. We insist that we complete this and that this is part of the trend. It is not something I'm adding now. It's not something I'm adding because I was under pressure in the coalition. It's something we unanimously agreed upon in the War Council." So what this means is that the War Council has agreed that they'll take a look at phase one of the ceasefire deal. They'll agree to phase one. Now, phase one is an initial 6-week ceasefire. It involves the release of captives, including women and the elderly from the Gaza Strip, exchange of hundreds of Palestinian prisoners, while also getting humanitarian aid into the Strip. It also includes, and this is going to be a problem for the Israeli military, a full and complete ceasefire, as well as the withdrawal of Israeli forces from Gaza. If they've agreed to that, it means that now there's a technical process that takes place. Israel has to present this to the Qatari and Egyptian mediators. The Egyptian mediators and Qataris have to take this to Hamas and get their response. Now, when President Joe Biden gave his initial three-phase proposal, Hamas reacted very positively towards that. So it's now up to Hamas to look at the deal, to look at the details of this deal, and to see if they can agree to phase one. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu may well be hoping that by putting it over to Hamas, that Hamas may well have a problem with this, because their position hasn't changed. They want a permanent ceasefire, and therefore it doesn't become his fault anymore that the ceasefire deal didn't go through. It could well be a number of other things, a lot of speculation going around right now. But what we do know is simply this, that perhaps phase one of the ceasefire deal is something the Israelis may well be willing to put to the Qatari and Egyptian mediators.
Yes, because we've got Netanyahu talking about pressure within his coalition. How fragile is his government when you've got the ultra-nationalists threatening to withdraw should he accept this ceasefire deal?
Well, already the finance minister, Bezalel Smotrich, is talking with his spiritual leaders. Remember, this is a very religious person who is also a very far-right minister within the government. So he's taking advice from his followers whether he should actually quit the government. It'll only take him or Itamar Ben-Gvir, the national security minister, to leave. They'll probably both leave together if, and it is a big if they decide to leave. But Netanyahu has always had the secret card here. He knows that this position of power for those far right-wing ministers has never actually happened before. So they may need to stay in the government just to remain in power and have a say of things that really mean something to them. So he's got that going for him as well. He also knows that he can probably resist the power challenges from Benny Gantz, for example, the war minister, from Yoav Gallant, the defense minister, because he knows he has those far-right ministers who want to support him. But, and it is a significant but, those far-right ministers are now looking at whether they can try and get another coalition going, or whether they can use the threat of quitting to try and force Netanyahu into a corner.
OK, Imran Khan joining us there from Amman. Thanks very much, Imran. And a reminder again that the Israeli government has banned Al Jazeera, so we are reporting from outside of Israel.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.